Welcome back. If you ever have packages delivered to your home, listen up, because you have a legal responsibility to make sure that your property is safe so nobody gets hurt. Attorney Bryan Waldman has what you need to know in this week's Legal Edge.
Hey, Bryan. So do consumers owe any kind of legal duty to delivery companies or their employees?
The duty that any property owner, or really the possessor of any piece of property or land, owes to another person is based on the person's status on the land. And Michigan basically divides that into something called an invitee, like a business guest, a licensee, a social guest, and then a trespasser. And of course, the highest duty is invitee, owed to a business guest. And it requires that the possessor of property exercise ordinary care to discover unreasonably dangerous conditions and then protect guests from those conditions. But there's no bright line rule that says, a certain amount of minutes or hours if it snows or if it rains and freezes. Michigan and most jurisdictions adopt what's called the reasonable person standard, which means you have to behave like a reasonable person would do under the same or similar circumstances.
Okay. What about pets? I know my dad was a postman for 25 years, so loose dogs running at, postal workers, I'm assuming would be, a same issue for people that deliver packages.
Yeah, and we talked about dogs and dog bites and attacks in previous segments. Mm-hmm. And in Michigan, if a dog attacks someone and they're lawfully on your property, unless they provoke the dog, you're responsible for the harm or the injuries caused by the dog bite.
Okay. And yeah, if someone is injured on your property, what happens then?
Well, hopefully, if that happens, if you're the possessor of land, you either have homeowners or renters insurance. It'll typically provide insurance coverage if someone is injured. There's typically two types of coverage. The first is called medical payment. It doesn't matter whether you did anything wrong or not. If someone gets hurt on your property, your insurance will pay up to a certain amount, usually $1,000, maybe as high as $5,000, if there's not other insurance to cover medical expenses. And then if you didn't behave like the reasonable person, if you were negligent and someone was injured as a result of that, that would result in a liability claim. And most policies, all policies I've seen, have coverage for that type of incident or that type of claim.